to move.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. I beg to move that this House has considered the matter of St George's Day 2025 and English affairs, and I am very grateful to my colleagues who have co-sponsored this debate and wish all those right across our island home a belated but very happy St George's Day. The cross-party support for this debate speaks to the power of St George and our collective pride in our Englishness. And whilst this debate brought many colleagues together for all the right reasons, regardless of background or political persuasion, we must as a House be very, very clear that no political party, no politician, no region, no faith, no colour and no creed has a monopoly on patriotism or pride in our national identity. We gather today, Madam Deputy Speaker, 80 years to the day since VE Day, victory in Europe, victory against fascism, victory for decency, for democracy and for all that makes England and our United Kingdom great. As we celebrate 80 years since the end of the most terrible global war in modern history, like many other colleagues, many of whom would be here otherwise, I'll be heading back home to Newcastle Lyme to celebrate with my neighbours, friends and constituents. I pay tribute to all those who fought so that we could live, give thanks for their lives and their legacies, and on behalf of the people of Newcastle Lyme, rededicate myself to building a world more tolerant, more respectful and, yes, more peaceful. As Churchill said on this day 80 years ago, long live the cause of freedom and God save the King. Madam Deputy Speaker, from Newcastle Lyme to North Northumberland and from Newquay to North Yorkshire and everywhere in between and beyond, St George's Day is a time to celebrate England and our Englishness, to show pride in our country, my country, our values, our flag and our history. My Englishness, Madam Deputy Speaker, is central to my identity. My family roots are from all over the Commonwealth, and I've spoken in this House before about my grandfather who left the colonies as they were to help the war effort here in the United Kingdom. But it's in England that I was born and raised, England that shaped me, England that allowed someone of my mixed background to thrive, to succeed and to get on in life. That is the story of our England. I've said in the House before, Madam Deputy Speaker, that I'm proud of my Englishness and my Britishness, and of the simple truth that our beloved country, this blessed plot as Shakespeare once called it, you could be anything you want to be, with the right support, a work ethic, real opportunities and a good heart. There is so much that many of us and all of us could say about our nation home, Madam Deputy Speaker, but the time limits don't allow me that opportunity, although, of course, you are well known for your indulgence. England's greatest asset. I will happily give way to my friend.
Thank you very much. I congratulate him on securing this debate and thank him very much for doing so. I think it's very important. I'm one of those people, I suspect many of us are, who are proud to be English, proud to be British, recognise them as different things, but things that we should uniquely celebrate. Does he agree with me that those who seek to use Englishness to divide us rather than to bring us together do a huge disservice to what being English is all about? And does he agree that those of us who believe that we can have huge patriotism and pride in our Englishness, but also recognise that those are values of inclusivity that we have shown and generosity that our nation's shown over the years, and we need to do a pretty good, much better job at defining exactly what that is as we go forward in difficult political times?
Adam Jogee.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm very grateful to my friend from Chesterfield for making a very, very important intervention. There is so much more that brings us together, and it is incumbent on all members of this House to make that case and to focus on bringing people together rather than pushing us further apart. Madam Deputy Speaker, England's greatest asset is its people, and that's no clearer to me than in Newcastle-under-Lyme, the northern corner of the ancient county of Staffordshire that is my home and my constituency. Our people are hard-working, many of them are God-fearing, decent folks who don't walk by on the other side, but they turn up to be counted. We see that in our National Health Service, in our schools, on our railways, in our veteran centres, and in communities up and down England. We saw it during the pandemic, in the struggle alongside the people of Ukraine against Putin's tyranny, and we see it every single day. One of England's greatest features is our countryside, and my home, Newcastle-under-Lyme, has plenty of it. Our farmers who produce food to the highest standards with the greatest quality deserve real and meaningful support. They feed us, they work hard, and they lead the world when it comes to tendering to and caring for our land. And I urge ministers in this government to keep this in mind. Where the previous government failed, we must listen, learn, and turn up to be counted. The contribution of the English language to Western literacy is simply immeasurable. England was home to the greatest writer of all time, William Shakespeare, and the works of Shakespeare alone continue to put England head and shoulders above when it comes to influence on global literature. But alongside him, England can claim T.S. Eliot, the Bronte sisters, George Orwell, Jane Austen, and so many more. English music is some of the most popular and influential music of all time. Still today, the Beatles, and I see the member for Tatton over there, are considered by many to be the greatest band of all time, but that's another debate for another day, Madam Deputy Speaker. Alongside the Beatles, you have the Stones, David Bowie, Amy Winehouse, Queen, Adele, Elton John, Kate Bush, Joan Armatrading, who's excellent, Cilla Black, Oasis, The Clash, Pink Floyd, and of course Robbie Williams, a man of and from North Staffordshire and whose mother lives in my constituency of Newcastle under Lyme. England has made some of the most enduring and significant contributions to music of any nation on our planet. And this goes without mentioning the many other cultural endeavours mastered by the English. English film remains dominant globally. A new James Bond film is still one of the premier cinematic events, and no tariff is going to get in the way of that. Christopher Nolan, an Englishman, is arguably one of the most exciting and skilled film directors working today. And we give thanks, Madam Deputy Speaker, for actors like the late Dame Maggie Smith and the late and wonderful Glenda Jackson, formerly of this parish, and to those still going strong like Dame Joanna Lumley and Dame Judi Dench, who I had the pleasure of celebrating my birthday with last year. As the birthplace of Reginald, a story for another day, Madam Deputy Speaker, as the birthplace of Reginald Mitchell, the designer of the iconic Spitfire plane, home to university, birthplace of a Prime Minister, albeit he moved to Australia to serve in that high office, and the home of the founder of the modern circus, Philip Astley, the ancient and laurel borough of Newcastle under Lyme has left its mark on English history and English culture. And if that isn't enough, we also have the popular Stoke City clown icon, Nello Baldwin, a constituent of mine. And of course, speaking of Stoke City, Madam Deputy Speaker, I couldn't make this speech without mentioning England as the home of the beautiful game. And with the local football landscape back home in mind, I also, of course, pay tribute to Port Vale. Today, it's important to call for action, however, to make sure that the truths of England's story and potential are preserved. We must work to ensure that people across England, and indeed all those across the United Kingdom, continue to feel pride in our flag and in our communities, and feel hope for the future and respect for our past. And any talk about love for flag and country must be matched by an investment in the people who make them what they are. Investment in our National Health Service, in our education and employment support services, in our arts and culture, and in our villages, towns and cities. I don't want today's speech to solely focus on the past, however, not when there are so many exciting things to say about England's future too. But it would be remiss of me not to touch on some of the parts of our history that fill me with a particular sense of reverence. Our democracy is one of the oldest in the world. An English Parliament has existed in some form since the 13th century. And monumental events such as the signing of the Magna Carta have solidified England's position in history as a forebearer of individual rights and freedom of political expression. These rights were fought for and hard won across centuries by brave women and men who had the vision to see a better country and a better world for all of us. There are many things I could say about England's relationship to the wider world, but one of the enduring strengths of our country, which I always come back to, is the courage, the tenacity, and the character of ordinary English people right across history. England is home to people from all over the world, and we are much better for it. And we can't forget, of course, Madam Speaker, that England too left its mark on all corners of the globe. Now, for some, misguidedly in my view, to talk England up is alien to them. To speak of the exciting future ahead of us and the vibrant country that we have become is difficult for some to do. All they seem to be able to contribute to our national conversation is painting England as a nation in decline. A nation once great, now not. I've spent much of my several minutes speaking, Madam Speaker, outlining the incredible successes and achievements of England's past, but for those people, there is nothing more to England than its past. To them I say, you don't know England. We have faced our fair share of adversity, and today of all days reminds us of that. But as Disraeli said, the English nation is never so great as in adversity. I'm never so proud to be English as in those moments. It is in those times, when times are toughest, that I'm blown away by the courage, the tenacity, and the generosity of the good people of this country. The English have always found a way to get on, to persevere, and as Churchill put it, to keep buggering on. Whether it be through the destruction of 2 world wars, or through the respective heartbreak of a disappointing Euro final, we will continue to do so. I will continue to look back at our past with the respect and reverence it deserves, and look forward to our future with hope and optimism. Because to do so is part of what makes us English, and because, Madam Deputy Speaker, things can only get better. I leave my final words to the last verse of one of my favourite hymns, and one of the favourite hymns of my late grandfather, a man who moved to this country in the 1940s to help make sure we beat fascism and defended the democracy to which I referred to earlier. But I shall resist the temptation to sing it for you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'll not, disappointing, not for some, I'll not cease from mental fight, nor shall my sword sleep in my hand, till we have built Jerusalem in England's green and pleasant land. We have much to do, Madam Deputy Speaker, in this House and in communities right across our country. So let's get on with it. Happy St George's Day to one and all. Thank you very much.